Okay, well, I'm Paul Gast, and here we are at Fast By Gast, Grand Island, New York. And we're going to talk a little bit about the history of Fast By Gast, myself, and what's going on nowadays. I actually got hooked on drag racing from my brother John. He had a gas coupe back in the days, and I was a little kid hanging out and handing wrenches to him. I started out with a Kawaski triple, a 500 triple. We started drag racing like at Niagara Dragway, which is just down the road from here, and we did good. And some of my friends wanted what I had, so I said sure. So I'd port their cylinders and do such like that. Then all of a sudden their friends wanted the same thing. I did theirs. Then it wasn't too long after that I got sick of doing it because I was just doing freebies, let's say. I said, well, wait, maybe this is a way I could make a couple bucks. So I'd work real late at night, into the morning hours actually, 7 days a week, and I'd be porting cylinders for people and doing what I could do. All of a sudden, Fast By Gast started. So in 1973 is when we went on the books as a business, 50 years ago now, almost exactly. We started out renting from my brother down the road on Baseline Road. We were there for quite a while. I started going to the drags pretty heavy right in that time frame. Then we started excelling at some of these national events. I'd travel around, mostly for fun at that point, but then all of a sudden it caught on, and maybe we set a couple records here and again, and all of a sudden people from out of town wanted what we had. We started mail ordering these port jobs and worked on the Kawaski triples almost exclusively for the first 10 years of Fast By Gast. I can't even tell you how many cylinders I personally ported back in the days, but I know it was in the thousands, for sure, in the thousands. I don't even know if it was possible to port any more cylinders than I was doing at the time. I mean, dozens a week. I would just sit there and grind till my arms almost fell off. While we were doing this, all of a sudden, I kind of lucked into a situation with these carburetors. That was our first part, specific part claim to fame, was the Electron carburetors. Norm Quantz from Electron, he designed the carburetor, and I designed the modifications for drag racing. And what a treat that was the first time we tried them. It was unbelievable. The same exact thing that happened with our cylinder porting happened with the carburetors. I went out and ran them, set some records. All of a sudden, well, geez, what the heck are those? They had to have them. We ended up selling lots and lots and lots. I'm sure, it's got to be approaching 10,000 carburetors by now. Of course, they come in sets of 4. Back then, it was sets of 3 for the first 10 years. Dennis Dean was brilliant. He's the one who actually, I think he was the first one who marketed very successfully, by the way, the Denco products. I bought them, and it definitely woke me up to some things. He was the innovator of a lot of these things. I don't want to say I copied and things like that, because that's not the case at all. But he and Denco had a big part of me wanting to beat them. And ultimately, we did. Tony Nicosia still is. I talked to him a week ago. He's still out there. He's getting up there, but he's still doing good, and he's still Tony Nicosia. I think those kind of things, maybe even you could call them slight rivalries in a way. But we were very friendly. I was a customer of theirs, and then we may have actually taken quite a bit of their business away then. But no, they were very instrumental also in the growth of Fast By Gast back in those days. Let's see, in about 76, I had the good fortune of meeting Dave Schultz from Florida. He had a place called Dave's Carburetor Service. And Dave was instrumental in the growth of this company, for sure, because he was fanatically a perfectionist. He wanted what I had, but he wanted the best I had. And I gave it to him. He went out, set some records, astounding records actually for the time. Still fast by today's standards. Now all of a sudden everybody wanted what Dave had. Right on up to about 82 or 3. That's when Dave went into four-stroke racing, and that's when I did as well. And magically, these same carburetors worked beyond awesome on the four-stroke bikes as well. Since that was a majority of the bikes that were out there, every single one of them had to have them. So we were the ones selling them. So I was putting all these carburetors together and testing them and traveling around the country showing off our wares and selling them at races and helping people tune and set more records. It was really a nice expansion of this business. That was a nice product. And then I went into the pro stock racing in around 86, pretty much when it started. I was there. I think I was at the first race in Memphis, Tennessee. We went out, we had good success in that as well. I can say that in that time frame, in the late 80s, early 90s, or through the 90s, I would race, I think the average was like 23 times a year. And remember, we're from the north, so you can only race 5 or 6 months of the year around here. There were some times that I would go to as many as 4 in a row, skip a week, and I did 4 more in a row. I was at the racetrack a lot, all over the country. Of course, back then, traveling was no big deal. It was very inexpensive, gasoline, everything was just cheap. Had really good successes. I wish I knew how many championships. Getting too old to remember these kind of things. I just don't know, but there's a lot of them, certainly a lot of records. And we continue to have these successes even now with a much more advanced and dramatically faster motorcycle. By the way, when I was doing these 23 races, there was 3 sanctions that I was following. Man, it was unbelievable. It was like ProStar, NHRA, and IDBA. Still have a lot of friends from all those old races, friends, customers, still doing this kind of thing. Seems like once you get hooked on this drag bike racing, sometimes you're in it. I've seen guys quit for a year or 2 and go get the boat, and then they're back. They come back. Yeah, it's an adrenaline thing that it's hard to get rid of, I guess. Look at me. I just turned 74 a week ago, and I'm still doing it. I'm blessed to be able to still do it. Nowadays, we stay busy doing cylinders, heads, transmissions, sometimes whole engines. I myself really like to do the components. You can get them in and out, boom. My time is limited, so I gotta focus on work and production here. Guys count on me getting things done, so I get them done. I'm dedicated to both my customers and certainly my employees, maybe even above all. Try to always do the right thing here at Fast By Gast, continually trying to come up with new things. That's what these race bikes have always been to me from the beginning till even now. We develop products, then we share those products, and of course sell them. And we try to help people at the races, very approachable at the track. I can maybe not even get this thing completed the way I should because I'm over helping others, but I kind of like that, or I wouldn't do it. Then we focused more on specific items of the engines here in the machine shop. Yeah, this is the Fast By Gast billet cylinder. These are very, very popular out there. We do them for these GS motors, Kawaski motors, and the Hayabusa motors with the help of Billy Vos. Those are probably the most popular thing we sell. These are our electron carburetors. Our cylinder head specialist works on the cylinder heads almost nonstop here. It's one of our real big things we do, whether it be valve jobs, port jobs, complete heads, complete engines, repairs. Our fella can take a head that's completely demolished and just make it new again. Very, very nice service that is. Keeps people going. It's another thing our company's been known for throughout the years is keeping people at the racetrack. Their parts aren't usually on our shelves to the point where I'm missing races because of. We're usually not in that equation. I like to think that people speak highly of our company to the point where they're pleased with our service and therefore tell others. You know, that's the best marketing tool of all, as most people know. Another niche that this company's developed is the transmission services, undercutting transmissions, override or auto trannies, full billet trannies. It's really something else, how and what they do. They do require maintenance and service. That's why we're here. We've been known to turn transmissions around in a day certainly for our core customer base, the guys that have been with us forever, very dedicated to Fast by Gast. We get their stuff done. There's no way. They don't miss no races because of us. I think I get one of my biggest kicks out of actually losing. My competitors get what I got. They're welcome to buy parts right off this bike, engines, heads, anything. At all times, everything's available. So if a customer beats me, first thing I tell them is, you just beat the best I got. I mean, I am trying hard every time. I want to win every round. But when I see the joy in a customer or friend customer's face when they beat this thing, this isn't the easy thing to beat right here. So when they beat it, I want to share their happiness with them. Yeah, so being meticulous, attention to detail, studying that computer. I've been out there with a cup of coffee at 1 in the morning, almost every race, I guess, maybe even later, just staring down the computer, looking for those little things. I enjoy that the very most. I still like riding the bike, and it's definitely a rush and a kick and all that stuff, and I think I do it okay, but not near as much as the tuning of it. The tuning, the prep, the fact that I built that engine and I tuned the things. No, I think I like the tuning of it for sure more. And then the ultimate end result is the riding of it. And then of course, if you win, that's always a nice cookie there too. But even if I had someone else riding the bike, I would have the same amount of pride in such. This particular bike, I'll very briefly tell you about this. This is a Walt Timblin chassis, Fast By Gast engine, got a Vortex cylinder head. Every single thing was built here at Fast By Gast. Got 3 computers on it, just short of 600 horsepower, nitrous oxide. Well, this is the world record holder bike, 3.93 seconds, 181 miles an hour. This is 8th mile, and this is wheels up the whole 8th mile. So this thing touches down when you chop the throttle. This is pretty much about as fast as it gets, other than maybe Top Fuel or something like that. This bike here has won numerous championships. It is the current record holder in both sanctions. There's plenty other bikes that can run real close to like this one here, and on some days better. But this one here is pretty much at the top of the deal, I think. A lot of work goes into that. George Bryce told me one time to finish first. First you must finish. And I agree with that, totally. About 15, 18 years ago when they switched to 8th mile, I was one of the ones that didn't really particularly care for it. Well, didn't take me but one race, and all of a sudden I was hooked on 8th mile racing. The attrition rate going from the 8th mile to the quarter mile when you run nitrous oxide is very difficult on parts. Also, it's almost too fast. If you run the quarter mile, this bike here would go like 620 at 215. Well, that's fast. In my opinion, that's fast. A lot of the tracks, you can't even stop stuff like that anymore. Much safer, much easier on parts, and it tightens up the field. The 8th mile, the fast guy and the not as fast guy tightens that gap up. You're really beating a guy if you beat him by 2 bike lengths, not in the 8th mile. A lot of our races are side by side, really good. That's where we are about Fast by Gast at this time, and all things are good.